Krakow, situated on the Vistula River and dating back to the 7th century. This is Poland's second largest city, with its cosmopolitan bars and restaurants. It's become a magnet for tourists and day trippers touring Eastern Europe. But it hasn't always been so inviting. Just 70 kilometers west of Krakow lies the small town of Oswiecim. At first glance, you'd never know its secrets. You'd never know that it played an imposed yet integral role during the worst chapter in human history. Over 1.1 million people perished here in the most notorious of Nazi death camps. Cattle cars carrying Europe's Jews arrived through the gates of Birkenau, only then to be ordered out and confronted with the nightmarish scenario of seeing their families separated, then stripped and murdered in the gas chambers. This was Auschwitz.
My name is Eva Kor. I am a survivor of Auschwitz, a survivor of medical experiments conducted by Dr. Joseph Mengele, and now that I am 82 years old, I am trying to survive old age.
Along with her sister Miriam, Eva was subjected to a relentless series of operations and experiments which often left them close to death. Against all odds, Eva and her sister survived. In December of 2015, Eva received an email from Glaswegian songwriter Raymond Meade. He'd been to Auschwitz and was so affected by what he'd encountered that he'd written some poetry that he wanted Eva to recite for inclusion in a collection of words and music he was writing to mark what he'd seen.
I had no intention of doing a project. I just always wanted to visit Auschwitz. It's such a big effect on me, and I think it's a sensitive sort of subject, and the best way to approach it. It took me a while to come to the idea of an EP of a couple of songs and spoken word stuff and some string arrangements that are now happening on it, and it's going to be called The Railway People. The first trip I'd been there, it was lashing rain, it was pouring, and we got to Birkenau, and it's a famous kind of watchtower that's, you know, just sort of stands, it overlooks the whole camp. When I got to the top, it was just one of the most sort of frightening things I think I've ever experienced. There was no one there, there was nothing there. It just was almost sort of stuck in a moment in time almost, you know, nothing had changed, and the view you had over the camp, over the train line, everything. I just sort of had a flashback to what it must have been like to be stood in there, and the evil that happened in that room. It was sort of palpable, you know, you could feel it. And when I came straight back down, I had the idea for the song straight away. Thought something's stirring, you know, like I don't know where songs come from, but it was a definite moment of, right, get your notepad, you know. And on the flight home, I just sort of started to write it. Within a day or something, I had it. You know, the basic sort of first version of it was ready. Is it to Oasis? It definitely is his chord. I don't know how a lot of things happened there when I went to see it, you know, and it was just sort of, how could this be? How could this happen? And just sort of pondering how people could be so sort of cruel to each other. And, you know, this isn't 300-400 years ago, this is very, very recent, and I don't know, that was the title of it. The song's called At the Top of the Stairs, but the poem is How Could It Be?
Raymond is friends with viola player Anne-Marie McGahn, who leads the Cairn String Quartet. Like Raymond, Anne-Marie knew this was no ordinary project. She visited Auschwitz herself to get in the mindset and to somehow musically reflect the ultimate horrors to be found there at the end of the Second World War.
There's railway tracks the whole way up the right-hand side as you come in on the road, and the footage that they'd shown you on the film was all these people being shipped in on these trains, you know, and all I could see was this railway track and this freight train just going so slowly up beside us, and that was just vividly with me. And when we got through those gates, the first thing you see is railway tracks on the ground. You just see where the trains could go right in. You're already a bit shocked from the video, and it was a kind of sunny day and everything was a little bit surreal about it. Like massive groups of people shuffling in and out of here, there and everywhere. All these identical looking houses, and they're all red brick. I don't think I was expecting that. I think I thought it was going to be some kind of cement. You visit Auschwitz first and then Birkenau, the killing camp basically, and that's really where I think that was what inspired Raymond. But it's definitely almost the most chilling part. You know, they tell you that the worst part of the tour is much earlier on. They tell you it's the bit where you see the hair of 30,000 people that's kept, or that it's the shoes. You see so many shoes, and you think that would be the worst bit, but it's not. It's actually Birkenau. It's just such a chilling place. And the guide was great. When she found out I was a musician, she showed me where the Birkenau Orchestra had been. It was a women's orchestra. And I got a book as well called The Girl in the Band, which is about a violin player who was basically survived because she was a violinist. And I think I was quite inspired by that her conditions were just so marginally better because of music. And it was music that got her through. And it was a bittersweet thing.
I sent a poem out to Eva Kor. To my surprise, she came back to me and said,
Dear Raymond, first of all, you are the first singer, musician to contact me for a unique project, and I want to thank you for thinking about me. It could be a most uniquely inspiring project, and I will cooperate with you to help you create a most meaningful song. Regarding the poem, I am not sure how it fits with your music. You are the professional musician, and I am the survivor, and I think I will survive it.
I said, would you like to do a voiceover on a song? And she said, yeah, I'd like that. I sent the song to her, she liked that too. And we're going to meet in July at Auschwitz, Birkenau, where she lost her family, to do a reading of this poem.
After months of emails, the day has finally arrived for Raymond to meet the extraordinary Eva Mozes Kor and her son Alex in Krakow.
Quite nervous, yeah, feeling quite nervous to meet her. It'll be nice, I feel like I know her in a way, but also it's kind of unexpected, you know, to sort of get to see her at last. So yeah, I'm excited but nervous. Hi Eva.
Hello.
Nice to meet you at last.
Nice
How are
meeting you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
You have a good journey? Nice to meet you.
Alex.
Raymond, nice to meet you.
Nice
You
to meet
alright?
you
How you
too,
doing?
You're tall and young.
You think so? I feel old. I was 34
Old?
on Friday, so I'm
Right.
getting old.
34. I am more than twice your age. So, when did you get here?
We got here yesterday yesterday afternoon. I was in Spain. I was playing some music in Spain on Friday, Thursday and Friday, and I flew in yesterday. So
You look very nice.
thank you. So do you.
I won't check your tattoos.
Oh no, I hate them.
You hide them
That's
real
terrible.
well.
I've sat like that all night. But yeah.
I at one time thought that if I dyed my hair black when I was younger, I would look like Elizabeth Taylor. Let me tell you, I never looked like Elizabeth Taylor.
I've tried to be the Beatles. That's my favourite, you know. But I think you find
Ultimately, you have to be you, and you might be a lot better than they are, but by being you, because that is the way it is. You are who you are with your pluses and your minuses. And that's an important thing. So when you are the best you are very happy.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah, I agree.
And the people like you because you're genuine, you're not a phony.
You're not hiding anything.
Right.
You
How
become more
did you come
productive.
up with the idea that you wanted to meet me and do a song about Auschwitz?
I guess songwriting is how I've dealt with my life. It's how I tell people how I feel, you know. I'm not very good at talking.
What touched you about Auschwitz?
When I got to Birkenau, it took my breath away. I couldn't believe the organisation of it, the size of it, the silence of it, you know, and I felt a presence. I'm not...
And normal people, so to speak, did that.
Yeah, exactly, you know, and it was more as a human issue for me. I couldn't believe people could do that.
Art brings to life music more so than drawings. I can see children sometimes drawing Stars of David, swastikas, barbed wires. I guess that's a very primitive way of expressing themselves. I am not sure if what do we want an piece of art to do. What kind of a response do we want? I would say I am definitely against any art that is very scary, very correct in depicting death, because I think that evokes anger.
I can remember at the age of 5 or 6 knowing that something had bad happened to both my parents. My dad's also a survivor. Somebody bad did something bad to my mom. That was a 5-year-old's perspective. I'd heard all the stories. By the time I was a teenager, I really didn't, like most teenagers, I didn't really care to hear anymore. I knew everything. And I just thought that was, that was normal. And I didn't think any of her ideas were all that great because I was a 14-year-old know-it-all. And so really until I was in my late 20s, I didn't think it was a big deal.
Eva Kor has dedicated her life to educating the naysayers and youngsters about the evils of the Holocaust. Despite failing health, she undertakes lecture tours around the world. From schools to universities to synagogues, Eva describes her time in Auschwitz with her late twin sister Miriam, mesmerizing audiences, leaving them in disbelief at the human cruelty she witnessed. She also tells them about her own path that led her to controversially forgiving the perpetrators, so she could move on with her life. Alex took her to one lecture in a school.
8th graders don't have a great attention span, and there wasn't a sound for over an hour because they were just, every word she said, it was just an amazing experience for them, and I just couldn't believe it. So that's when I kind of realized that there was something special about the way her ability to capture a young audience, and I think because of that, and I've always been involved, but because of that I saw that this was something really special. And so from that point on, for the last 26 years or so, I've been very involved.
How do you even start on forgiveness? If you are tired of hurting, if you are tired of being angry, and most people will get eventually tired of that, take a piece of paper, write a letter to the person or people who have hurt you. And you can see in this letter anything you want to. At the end, you must say, I forgive you. And you must mean those words Otherwise, it has no merit. This generation of maybe 18 plus is very ignorant about World War II. And the best way, in my opinion, to reach them is through a music that they can relate to. So I think it's very good, very powerful, and very well written. It comes from the heart. And anytime something comes from the heart, and it's not, his words are not scary, and what the music I have heard in the trailer of People of the Railroad, it was beautiful music. So I think it will, hopefully that the young people who need to be educated will listen to it and get enough involved to want to know more.
I'm looking forward to visiting tomorrow with you. I think it'll be really special, you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel different when you go back there? Is it the same every time when you go?
Well, I don't know what your life was like or what you ever had in your life. Have you lost any family member ever?
Yeah, I've lost people close to me before, yeah.
How, when you look back at it or think about them, do you remember the last time you saw them? Or what pops into your mind?
A memory, I suppose, you know, a happy memory or something.
Because when, and I don't know if that is true for everybody, but to me, when I remember somebody, I remember the last time I saw them. That is an image that is very deeply engraved in my soul. And when I think about my parents, particularly in Auschwitz, and my two older sisters, that is the last place I saw them, on that selection platform. And they just disappeared from the face of this earth. So when I go back, I always relive that moment. They are very clear to me as I'm standing there. And that was the reason that 3 years ago I wrote, because I always say in my lecture, I never even got to say goodbye to my mother, nor to my father. He disappeared before my mother did. And so I wrote a letter of goodbye and forgiveness to both of them that I read right there on the selection platform. And it felt very good.
Yeah. That's really moving.
And every year we have something else.
Yeah. There's a poem tomorrow.
What?
A poem tomorrow, I guess. Right. Yeah. But, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough for doing it. It's really...
You are welcome.
Yeah, it's a real honour to meet you.
Yeah. Did you sleep good?
No.
What's your problem?
To be honest, my problem is they have a pub crawl.
What?
It's called a pub crawl. And
What is that?
It's when a group of usually British tourists go to every single bar on our street
Really?
until 5 a.m.
What? Why?
I don't know why. I don't understand it. They were having a good time, but we didn't sleep.
Listen, I have a good time without going high on any alcohol.
Yeah.
I am just high on life. Okay. That's good as that will get.
Did you say last night this was your 18th return?
What?
18th time to go back today, is it?
Yeah, this is the 18th time since I was liberated. How many times have you visited Auschwitz now?
This is the 5th.
The 5th?
Yeah, yeah.
What is that, the yearly pilgrimage to Auschwitz?
Not quite, no, I was just interested in it, you know, and felt you can read the books and you can only do so much, but I think going and...
So you want more and more details?
Yeah, I wanted more and more details. So I've been, but that's in 1 year.
In less than 1 year?
Yeah.
So on the weekend you say, okay, let's go to Auschwitz.
Yeah. My wife doesn't think it's a good time, you know, but...
Yes,
yeah,
and what did she think?
she couldn't believe it. She was the same. She thought it was just unbelievable. A horrible place.
What is unbelievable that anybody survived and remained sane.
Whenever Eva visits Auschwitz, she is always recognized, and people want to hear her story firsthand. This visit was no exception. A crowd soon gathered.
We got down from the cattle car, and I think, as you can see, this little car, 100 people in it for 4 days, no water. And then the doors opened. My mother grabbed my twin sister Miriam and me by the hand. I think she saw that as long as she could hold on to us, that somehow she could protect us. It was thousands of people all around us, pushing, yelling, shoving. I looked around and trying to figure out what on earth is this place. And I realized that my father and 2 older sisters, I had 2 older sisters, Edith and Alice, disappeared in the crowd. Never ever did I see them again.
So it was you, your parents, a twin sister, and 2
Older sisters that we arrived together. And then we were holding on to mother, and the Nazi was running right in the middle here, yelling in German, Zwillinge, twins. And he noticed us and demanded from my mother, asked, are they twins? And she didn't know what to say. She said, is that good? And he said, yes, and my mother said, yes. I remember seeing her arms stretched out in despair. She was pulled away. And I always remember that I never even said goodbye to her. But I didn't understand that this would be the last time we would see her. And all that took 30 minutes from the time we get down from the cattle car to the time that the whole family was gone.
Eva's parents and older sisters Edith and Elise were killed on arrival at Auschwitz Camp 2, Birkenau. 90% of the 1,100,000 victims during the camp's 5 years of operation were Jewish, like Eva's family. This custom-built killing camp was created by the Nazis to make the mass killing of Jews, Poles, Gypsies, prisoners of war, homosexuals and other ethnic groups more efficient. When the horrors were revealed in January 1945, the first day of liberation at Auschwitz, the Russian Red Army found 600 corpses, plus 7,500 alive, awaiting the final solution. Eva and Sister Miriam were among those survivors waiting, after 10 months of being used as guinea pigs by Dr. Joseph Mengele as part of his twin children medical experiments program. The commitment, bravery, and strength of Eva Kor's survival under the harshest conditions still drives her today.
Okay. I need to go. I don't know where are you? Am I talking?
You started talking and then they videotaped it.
So you just work to make the world better. Do something in your life. When you see something wrong, stand up against it. You are not guilty for anything that happened. But you will bear responsibility if you let other bad things happen. And the world is in big trouble.
I speak is enough.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. How could it be? Red brick walls, uninviting yet familiar, a labyrinth of screams and stolen youth, and stolen aging and stolen life, blue and white shrouds, consuming memories, for all who cry for the taking of the Shoah. You already have an audience.
A fan base. I hope they all buy it when it comes out.
What?
I hope they all buy it when it's ready.
Well, you can buy it when the song is out. Then I'm going to take a selfie with you. Okay, you stand here. Let's see what we can see as I turn on.
Stay in the background. That's fine.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, smile back there.
No, you want here, right here.
Come in. And then you need to tell us how to do it.
With the poem recorded, it's time to go. But Eva has one more thing she wants to show Raymond.
Where is Raymond? Come on, Raymond. This is where the gas chambers were. So people probably would be walked around into the forest, and then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then people would be walked down there. There was divided in two. The first part, I think, was where they took off their clothes. And that part right here was the gas chamber. And then the bodies were taken to the crematorium, lifted and taken to be burned.
After showing Raymond the gas chamber in which her family were killed, it was time to delineate the philosophy behind forgiving Dr. Mengele. It started with a letter.
I went home, closed the bedroom door, picked up a dictionary, looked for nasty words. I made a whole list of it, and then I read them out clear and loud. And at the end I said, in spite of all that, I forgive you. It made me feel very good that I, the little victim, had the power even over the angel of death. So if I had the power over the angel of death and I wasn't hurting anybody, it was an interesting thought that he, Mengele, could never change my forgiving him.
No, couldn't affect it.
No.
Your decision.
I am in charge of it.
Yeah. It must have been really powerful for you.
It was a very powerful feeling. It was a very powerful feeling. Now, if I forgave Mengele, I decided to forgive everybody who has ever hurt me. And so that is the way the forgiveness idea began. See, if every brick here could speak of what they witnessed, what a story they could tell. I got closure from the point of view that I could forgive and heal myself and look back at Auschwitz and what happened here, not as a tragedy, but as a victory, because I am no longer haunted or hurt emotionally for the rest of my life for what happened here. And realizing that I cannot change the past, no one can. But the way I can deal with it as telling myself as a point of strength, if I've survived Auschwitz, if I survived being almost dead in the barrack of the living dead and crawling on the barrack floor, and on top of that I can forgive them, then I can heal myself and go on. And I believe that I do deserve that right to live free, as I claim it for every human being should have that right. Young people who never ever thought about listening to a song about Auschwitz, but because it is a popular song created by a young artist, they will listen to it and touch them, and they want to go beyond that. The whole idea is why this song is written is to reach the young people. And then both Raymond Meade and I have accomplished an important project. Human compassion and reason, never selection, and sympathy and goodness and a wanting for life.
It'd be nice to do Just a quick rebalance of it. Print a mix.
Red brick walls, uninviting yet familiar.
It was funny because anytime I've been there, it had been calm. You know, whether it was in the sunshine or the winter when I went, it was always quite sort of desolate and quiet. And when we went to do the actual recording, it was so windy. And one of the last lines of it is "the wind whispering all it's ever seen." Yeah, I thought it was quite sort of fitting that that happened when we were there. It was really sort of effective for the poem. I like having the ambience, you know, in the background, and as Eva put it, you know, the kind of sound of Auschwitz coming through it. You know, there's a couple of times where she stops speaking, you can hear the wind and stuff, and sort of a couple of background noises, you know. So it's good. It's really effective.
Do you think Eva will like it?
I hope so. I think so. She told me she'd never been on a pop song, so I hope she likes it.
Blue and white shrouds concealing memory.
Should we try pass?
uninviting yet familiar, a labyrinth of screams and stolen youth, and stolen aging and stolen life, and stolen happiness and stolen intimacies, things I take for granted, a warm summer night. There is victim in all of us. This should always be blue and white shrouds, consuming memories, for all who cry for the taking of the Shoah, for all who see numbers in the dark and teach themselves the wrongs of the past to determine future failings, all reconciled by human solutions, human compassion and reason, never selection, and sympathy and goodness and a wanting for life, and moments afforded to us by breathing. A wreath atop a train line is silent, but for the wind whispering all it's ever seen, it cries for the lost. It tells you if you listen, how could it be otherwise?